All right, what's up, fellas? It's time for Wake Up Mintzy. We're going a little early today from the Barstool office in Chicago because we're going early because we've got the Barstool After Dark Home Run Derby stream, which was originally slated for 4 p.m. Central, and we obviously wanted to do it before that because we want everyone, the thousands and thousands of people that watch those streams, to watch them. But then now it got pushed back to 4:30 because of Chicago traffic, which is certainly a real thing. Glad to be back in the office, drinking some Stella Blue coffee. Got my dude wipes as always, and a bunch of stuff to get into today. Going to be joined by Tyler Moody in a second. We got his MLB All-Star picks coming for tonight. We got an interesting day today. We've got, well, first of all, we've got the Stool After Dark Home Run Derby, which is obviously the top priority. But we've got the Major League Baseball All-Star Game tonight, and we got the World Series of Poker main final table, which actually starts airing on Poker Go at 5 Central. And because of that, we caught up with Adam Hendrix earlier today. I appreciate Adam giving us 10 minutes of his time as he gets ready for the World Series main event final table tonight, playing for $10 million. He's got a very interesting story. From Alaska, lived in Egypt, and how he got into poker, but he has over $8 million in live cashes. He's a man that ain't messing around, and really cool to get to talk to him before the main FT. Tyler Moody, what's up, bud?
Yo, what's up, brother? How we doing today?
Good. You're looking pretty fresh. You get your haircut?
Yeah, I got the haircut. I've been having a lot of fights lately, so I've been trying to. I will let my hair grow long because I just don't care, and then when I actually have stuff to do, I'll keep it pretty short. So I got it short at the moment.
There you go. Well, a lot of stuff to get into today. First of all, Barstool-wise, I mentioned the Stool After Dark Home Run Derby. That's going to be starting at 4:30. Team Hank versus Team Max. Should be electric content as always. Yesterday in the Barstool world just got thrown upside down. That was the yak yesterday, largest yak ever, over 35,000 people watching when Jeff Nadeau walked off that plane in L.A., and that was one of the funniest sagas I've ever seen. And it made me bring up a point, Moody. Think about the great beefs in life. Sports, music. You know, you think Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Where's Rico versus Nadeau rank on that all-time pantheon? Like, you think about the greatest beefs in life, and you think Kendrick, Drake, and you think maybe Will Smith and Chris Rock, or, you know, when he got slapped him. But, I mean, the Rico versus Nadeau, I mean, this rivalry goes way past me starting at Barstool. This has been going on like 8-10 years. And you see stuff like yesterday, you just can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, I think for people that are like in the Barstool realm, it's an all-time classic. Rico's crash out yesterday was, I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, he did give Rico credit. He did apologize today because even by his standards, he knew he went a little far on that one.
I love Rico though, dude. He always brings some passion. I mean, Rico's the man. He's funny for sure.
Oh, I'm a huge fan as well. I proudly rock my Believe in Bosco shirt. He's a loose cannon. And when you let the dog out, and he just gets in that form. And now, you know, he had a tough day yesterday, as he said, but he's got the big basketball game, Monday night, July 28th, the New York versus Boston basketball game he's been training for. And so now he has a redemption arc. He's been training in the gym, videos with coaches and stuff. And so all Barstool eyes will be on July 28th, Team Minahan against Team New York. Dave Portnoy coaching New York. And, you know, against the Team Boston. And you got to think, you wonder if Team Boston, you got to play some mind games. You got to get Nadeau in there to mess with Rico, right?
You definitely got to get Nadeau in there. I mean, he's the kryptonite for Rico. We've seen Rico have some crash outs, obviously, but there's nothing that seems to bring his blood to a boil quite like Nadeau does. I'm Team Bosco 100%. I'm right there with you, Rico. I feel you on Nadeau personally. I got a similar feeling about that guy. So I'm 1,000% Team Bosco.
Well, just a wild yak yesterday, and just crazy. Moody, I've been a part of this company for almost 5 years now. I've never heard an eruption like when Nadeau walked off that plane in the office. Never. I mean, it was like you would have thought it was like a winning touchdown of a football game. I mean, it was insane how crazy it was.
Did you see the clip of Blaze?
Yes, just knocking over his chips?
Just dogging him. I mean, he punked Nadeau so hard, and I don't think Nadeau realized that he was being made fun of the entire time. And Blesnik was just clowning the hell out of him. Shout out to Blaze for that. I thought that was pure comedy. How did Nadeau do last night?
I didn't see how he did, but I know if I were Nadeau and somebody pushed all my chips over, I would lose my mind because I don't know.
Mentally just torching Nadeau. I mean, for 10 straight minutes, just making fun of Nadeau. And I don't think Nadeau quite understood what was happening to him, but Belez just running circles around Nadeau mentally. It was really, really funny clip.
I believe it. But wild day yesterday at the Yak with Barstool as always. Well, last night, Moody, even though it didn't win, you gave the people a great sweat. Junior Caminero in the home run derby, he was 11-1. Our good friends at DraftKings had a 50% home run derby boost I used on him. I had him plus 1650. What a ride. Cal Raleigh ends up continuing his historical, just insane season with 38 homers pre-All-Star break and winning the home run derby. But I still just want to give you a shout-out for that pick. I mean, we took the longest shot in the field and had a real chance.
Yeah, I told you yesterday. I could not believe that Caminero was that big of a dog. I mean, he was 12-1. He ended up surpassing Jazz Chisholm once the tournament started. He was 11-1. I think Jazz fell to 12-1. But the fact that they had Caminero, who has the second best bat speed in all of Major League Baseball, as the biggest underdog was just mind blowing to me. I thought he was absolutely the best value. Knew he would show up. I mean, he puts on shows sometimes for these for batting practice and stuff. I mean, he's a gamer too. We've seen him come up in big spots, and they showed it all last night in the Dominican League Championship and everything. He's a real gamer. I knew he would show up last night, but I do think the nerves got to him a little bit in that championship round. Whenever Cal Raleigh came out, put up a big number with 18, you could see him trying to shake out the nerves and stuff before he went to take his at bat. I think the nerves and the fact that he's a guy that's only making league minimum right now. He's pre-arb.
Yeah, playing for $1 million.
Playing for $1 million. And I mean, sure, he's made money, but I know for him that $1 million meant more than what it meant to Cal Raleigh. For Cal, it was, had the family there. He's the leader in home runs this season. He's kind of establishing himself as the dude right now when it comes to home runs, opposite of Aaron Judge. So, great moment for him. Couldn't have asked for a better final. I mean, Raleigh's a great dude to win. It seems like just a great dude, a hell of a ball player. But yeah, man, Caminero. It was a great pick. It really was.
And I was following the live odds on DraftKings, and before the overtime, when Caminero was down like 3 or 4 home runs, I think it was down 18-14 before the OT. He was actually a minus 200 favorite, and Cal Raleigh was plus 150. And I thought about hedging it, but I was like, man, I got a $20 bet to win 330. Like, I don't need to protect $20, but man, fun sweat though. I got to say, Moody, you give I said all the time pumping Moody's tires, but like for someone like me and all the people that are like to gamble but very casual MLB, you give the people everything you could ever hope for if you're just wanting sweats on games. You always do.
Yeah, the one thing that I usually do is I'm close. Even if I miss, I'm close. I have the occasional cold stretch. It hits all of us. That's gambling.
Well, yeah, it's a 162 game season, and the home run and you do the home run props, which is like the most. I mean, everybody has cold stretches.
I am a consistent winner, though. Everything I've ever done, like sports growing up, it doesn't matter. I've always been a consistent winner. If I lose, if I become a consistent loser at something, I will take a break, reevaluate, and come back and try and get back to winning. So, and now that we have people that follow my picks, I want to show up and give them the best possibility of winning as well. So it's not just me betting for me. I know there's people putting their hard-earned cash on there as well. So I try and bring it for the people when I can.
All right, let's get into this All-Star game tonight. Atlanta, starting pitching matchup. Paul Skeens against Skubal just couldn't be more classic. I guess both guys expected to go two innings.
They usually go. Yeah, lately it's been 2 innings, and then you kind of go into your bullpen You'll have a couple starters go an inning or two behind them. Obviously, you wish that they'd go out there and throw 5 or 6 innings against one another, but you're not going to get that. It's just flat out not going to happen. And it's unrealistic to ask these dudes in the middle of their season to put their arms on the line and the rest of their season on the line for a game that really just it doesn't matter that much. So, but it's a great matchup. I mean, it's probably the 2 best pitchers in all of baseball right now. I'd put Crochet and Hunter Brown right there behind them, but they're the 2 best pitchers in baseball. I think Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball, and it should be exciting just to see those 2 take the rubber.
All right, right now on DraftKings, National League minus 132, American League plus 108, low over-under of 7, which makes sense when you got elite pitching. I mean, obviously, when it comes to the All-Star game and gambling, obviously a crapshoot. But if you were looking to put a little bit on it and get a little sweat tonight, what are you looking at?
I think my sweat is going to be Ronald Acuna for MVP. He's 10-1. I think he's the fourth best odds for MVP tonight. He's hitting two hole. He's a guy that could do it multiple ways tonight. He could hit a home run off Scooble. He could get a base hit, steal a bag. I just think that when I was kind of looking through it, he was what jumped out to me. I feel like he's the best odds, and he's a gamer too. He's one of those dudes that loves the spotlight. So I would not be surprised to see Ronald Acuna come up with a big hit tonight, maybe even a home run. I might take him to homer. Problem is, Scooble just doesn't give up a bunch of them. But Acuna 10-1 for MVP is going to be my main play tonight.
All right, there you have it. And Acuna is plus 950 to homer. I'm going to ride the
Okay.
10-1. I will be riding your 10-1 MVP pick. I love the Moody long shots and looking forward to watching the game. I do like that it doesn't decide home field anymore, though. I like that. I thought that was crazy to have a World Series potentially impacted by an All-Star exhibition game. That never sat right with me.
It's dumb because let's say you have one team that dominates, wins 120. Let's say a team wins 120 games, sets the record. Because the rest of the league is terrible, right? Let's just imagine this scenario. They win 120 games, the National League's terrible, the AL is stacked, and they win the All-Star game because they're the better league. That team that won 120 games still deserves home field advantage. They took care of business and won 120 games. So I'm glad they got away from that. It was cool. They were trying to find a way to make the All-Star game mean something, but we don't need that deciding the World Series. The World Series is infinitely more important than the All-Star game.
I agree, but I'm still looking forward to watching tonight. It is going to be a fun scene in Atlanta, and I don't know. You've kind of, I'll say this, Moody, you've made me more of an MLB fan this year, just following the picks and taking the stuff. I mean, I was glued into that home run derby last night. I was on Moot Can't Sleep watching it while we were on the stream, reacting, and shout out our boy.
You
Moot.
know, every once in a while, if I have a final at bat to cash a three-legger, I'll get that feeling, those nerves that I'm standing up, I'm watching. I usually don't sweat too much. I'm not one of those people that sweats their bets quite as much as other people do. But last night got me for some reason. When Caminero was coming up, I felt those nerves. I was up. I was, cheering. I was really trying to jinx Cal Raleigh. I kept saying, "You're getting tired. You're getting tired. You're getting tired." He was not getting tired, and but it was
No,
great, man. It was an exciting derby. I enjoyed it. I know there were some people hating on the camera angles and stuff. I do agree with a little bit of that. I think that ESPN could have done a better job with it. I don't hate the format. I don't love the format, but look, they're playing with things. Maybe one day they'll find the perfect solution.
well, enjoyed that home run derby. We'll be watching the All Star game tonight. And I'll tell you what else I'm going to be watching tonight. We're going to get into this World Series of Poker main event final table. Actually, coverage starts at 5 Central, so it's going to be pretty soon after the show. We'll, of course, be watching the After Dark Home Run Derby first. But when that's over, I plan on watching the World Series main final table. And a lot of storylines to get into tonight. I stayed up till 4:30 a.m. Sunday night watching it. The two main there's two storylines that oversee everything. First, Leo Marget, the first woman in the Margets. I'm sorry. Oh, I keep messing up her last name because she's Spanish. First woman in the modern era to make the main event final table. I think that's spectacular for poker. The women make up about 5% of the poker world. I think you're going to see that number grow off this, especially if she wins it. What a story that would be. And she's really good. She's capable. She's got a shot. And then Michael the Grinder Mizrahi, poker legend, won the 50K Players Championship for the 4th time this summer. I mean, that's insane. Goes back to the early days of the World Poker Tour, always crushed it. I mean, to win the 50K Players Championship and final table the main the same summer, we're talking about 9,700 people in this main. And he came back from 3 big blinds. He was so short day 8. Now he's got 91 million. I mean, it's kind of, when you look at the chip stacks, it's kind of anybody's ball game. There's really only one guy that's short. But Mizrahi got to be the favorite here. And I can't wait to see it.
He's easily the favorite. You give him 91 million, it gives him room to make moves, right? To put pressure on you. And one of the things that's so interesting about Mizrahi, because he does play a little bit more loose, because he's willing to get risky in certain spots. Whenever he does have it, people don't quite know if he has it. And that is just such a tough spot for people coming into this final table, because I guarantee you, somebody's going to pay him off on a hand that they normally would not pay someone else off on because of the way that he plays. He gets caught bluffing sometimes. That's part of his game. He is easily the favorite tonight. Kenny Howlett, I believe, is probably number two. Rock solid, has made a just played incredible poker. Really hasn't made any missteps at all. But Mizrachi, the head and shoulders favorite here. I mean, he's the man. He's been there, done that. The nerves are not going to get to him the way it may some of these other players. And you give him 91 mil, he's a dog.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Adam Hendrix, who we are about to air this interview, actually has 48 million coming in. Look out for him. He has 8 million in live tournament earnings. Has been red hot. 32-year-old pro from Alaska. So I wouldn't count him out either. But I think you got a lot of great storylines. I mean, you mentioned Kenny God, I'm screwing up names.
Holler, yeah.
Holler. Well, we're talking about a guy that got 6th in a main before, 16th in a main, and now he's back at the FT. I mean, that's like people are hoping for one main run in their entire life, and now this is the third time he's gotten top 16. My brain is cooked just thinking about that. But yeah, can't wait to watch that main. Good.
Don't be surprised if he wins it. Like, I know Mizrachi's the big name. It's who most people will be cheering for. But do not be surprised if Kenny Hollert wins this. He has played just a sensational poker. Just rock solid. He's made no mistakes. I mean, he really hadn't. And he's played every hand well. So if he wins it, do not be surprised.
And shout out to our friends over at PokerGo. Just awesome job covering the WSOP all summer. And they just do look at can't wait to get on there and watch tonight.
How good are Nick and Ollie?
Oh yeah, the night shift.
The night shift. I mean, I would watch them for hours. They're pure comedy. I mean, when Ollie just starts going off the rails and Nick doesn't know what to do with it, it's so good. I mean, it's incredible stuff. Great.
It really is. And Nick Schulman just turned 40 already, elected into the Poker Hall of Fame. So, and if Mizrahi's going in either way, but if he wins tonight, it's unanimous next year. I mean, if he wins,
I was going to ask you, if he wins this, and he's already won the PPC, is this the best run for anyone in a single summer? I know there's been people that have won more bracelets in a summer, but to win
those two, I think number one, I think this is it. I mean, to win, because you could go into the summer and say, everybody wants to win the World Series main. That's number one. But number two to these top pros is that 50K Players Championship. I mean, that's only like a 130-man field, but it's all the games, and it's literally called the PPC for a reason. It's all the top pros playing all the games, like most prestigious. And if he wins both of those, and just the fact that he's won the PPC 4 freaking times, I mean, my God. I mean, just insane. And the atmosphere, Grinder had a pretty rowdy drunk rail the other night, so I expect that to certainly be the case again tonight. But can't wait to watch it. And it's been a great summer following it out in Vegas. I had a hell of a time out there too. That's for sure. We got Frank the Tank. We got Frank the Tank on tomorrow. Oh, I have been too. And shout out to Dude Wipes. Let it rip with Dude Wipes. Amazon, Walmart, Target, all over the World Wide Web. Amazing product. And we're about to air our interview with tonight Adam Hendrix, going to the World Series main final table, 48 million chips. He likes Barstool. I've kind of gotten to know him a little bit because he's a stoolie a little bit. So got to support the guy that supports Barstool, and super nice of him to give us some time today right before he heads to play the World Series main final table. So here's our interview with Adam Hendrix, and good luck to him tonight at the World Series main event final table. All right, what's up? We're joined, excited for this one, Adam Hendrix getting ready for the World Series of Poker main event final table. Damn, that's got to sound good. What's up, man? How we doing?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, excited, pinching myself every other day, every moment actually. Sometimes, like last night I was going to sleep, I'm like, I don't know if I'm already dreaming or I'm like, thinking about tomorrow or whatever. It's surreal feeling making the main event final table.
I can't even imagine, but as weird as this sounds, I'm not shocked because I've been following your career for a while. You got over 8 million in live tourney cashes. You've been a rising star in poker really the last few years. You got a lot of big scores. I know you won something earlier this summer at Aria. You've been really, really hot the last few years. Any secrets to how this has happened?
I mean, I feel like from what I've heard from like everyone that's doing sort of well, poker's just sort of a volume game. If you think about poker, the skill edge is there, but there is like a lot of luck that sort of brings in the recreational players, right? Anybody can win. Chris Moneymaker won the main event when he was like a recreational with little skill. So that's the cool thing about poker, but with anything, like skill overrides luck in this game if you put in enough hours, volume in tournaments, and hands. So usually the cream rises to the top. So I always, me and my friends, we've always tried to, game select the not the toughest tournaments, but maybe the more valuable tournaments, whether it be in the U.S. or abroad.
Well, you've got a crazy background because you're from Alaska, but it sounds like you went to Virginia Tech to college. You've lived all over. I believe your dad was in oil and gas, so you've kind of a nomad.
Yeah, I mean, Alaska's always been home. We always went back in the summers to my dad's hometown, Homer, Alaska. It's like a small fishing town where my grandma lives. We'd always go back. So Alaska's always been home, but every few years, my dad would be like, okay, we're moving. Like we'd be in Houston, Texas in the summer. I was about to go to high school, join the varsity soccer team, and then he's like, we're going to Egypt. I was like, I didn't take it very well, as a 13-year-old would. But it ended up being one of the greatest experiences of my life.
What was it like living in Egypt?
Yeah, it was cool because like where we lived was a small suburb called Madi. It's just in Cairo, but it was a lot of expats there with international students. We had a great international school called Cairo American College, with great teachers, great staff, and just a lot of interesting perspectives. You would have, kids from different parts of Africa, Asia, US, all over, and you just get to meet and talk with these people. And when you're coming sort of from the US, sometimes the country of the States is just so big that you almost have like many countries inside of it. It feels like, but you don't like get often enough to like travel outside and see like these different perspectives these people had, different struggles, what they're worried about and stuff like that. But the country itself is amazing. I mean, just the people were awesome. You could be out late, very safe and stuff like that. Just always love Egypt.
That's awesome. What a cool story of growing up. What an experience when you're young. And so you went to Virginia Tech to college. Is that when you got into poker?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little into poker when I was a kid. My dad and I would go fishing like 5 a.m. He'd wake me up. We'd go halibut fishing in Homer, Alaska. My summer break, and as a kid, you're like, I don't want to wake up all the time this early, go fishing. So some days I would stay back, and I would turn on ESPN, and the main event would pop up. So that's sort of the first time I remember watching poker. And my grandma, her brothers and sisters, sometimes we'd play like 7 card no peaky for like pennies at a time. From there, always liked poker, but never picked it back up till college, where some of my dorm mates were playing like a $5 game. They invited me one weekend, in the dorm, and obviously I won the 8-person tournament. And if you start as a winner, you usually get hooked right away.
Are you hearing from those dorm mates during this main event run?
Yeah, I have a few of them still contact.
All right, so you go from playing $5 games into the dorm in college. Now you're at the World Series main final table. Like I said, your friends definitely I feel like those guys got to be pretty excited for you.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of people sort of throughout my, not even career, but before my career when I was in university. I would, Blacksburg's a pretty small town, very college focused town, all, football. But I would go to nearby towns like Radford on the weekends, or Christiansburg, which are like 20, 30 minutes away. And I'd play versus much older people than me at the time. I was like 19, 18, and these guys would be in their 40s. And I'd be playing for $100 or something like that, just grinding it out with these guys. So a bunch of those guys have reached out. One of them's here, Scott Bunn. One of my college friends, Andrew Stein's been on the rail for a few days, and then just a bunch of people, even from high school and stuff like that, have been reaching out, sporting, or like, yeah, we used to play, back here when we were playing for $10 at a time. So it's pretty cool to see just like the growth. I've always tried to make poker like a slow and steady climb. Uh, Always, there's a lot of variance in this game. Some people, And Hearth's more an artisanal like pizza spot. So, we'll get him up. There's a direct flight from Vegas. So if he, goes on a bender during one of those Michigan games or something, then come up to Alaska for the hangover cure. So,
All right. Well, all right. So you go from playing $5 games into the dorm in college. Now you're at the World Series main final table. Like I said, your friends definitely I feel like those guys got to be pretty excited for you.
yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of people sort of throughout my, not even career, but before my career when I was in university. I would, Blacksburg's a pretty small town, very college focused town, all, football. But I would go to nearby towns like Radford on the weekends or Christiansburg, which are like 20, 30 minutes away. And I'd play versus much older people than me at the time. I was like 19, 18, and these guys would be in their 40s. And I'd be playing for $100 or something like that, just grinding it out with these guys. So a bunch of those guys have reached out. One of them's here, Scott Bunn. One of my college friends, Andrew Stein's been on the rail for a few days. And then just a bunch of people, even from high school and stuff like that, have been reaching out, sporting, or like, yeah, we used to play, back here when we were playing for, $10 at a time. So it's pretty cool to see just like the growth. I've always tried to make poker like a slow and steady climb. Always, there's a lot of variance in this game. Some people, end up getting a big score early and then just don't have money management or have vices that they handle. So it's sort of scary. It's you.
Wouldn't be me on that. But was there a moment in your early part of your career where you realized like, hey, I can do this for a living?
Yeah, I mean, I was streaming on Twitch back really early when Twitch, like 2015-ish to 2017, I had a decent following. And I remember like I wasn't professional at the time, but I was making decent money just playing online and streaming. And I just sort of felt like online was always the toughest path when you're playing poker. Like it's a good tool to study, but maybe not make money because it is so much tougher. So then when I transitioned to some live poker and saw, how the people were playing compared to online, I felt like I was much better than the average, even like pro at the time when I wasn't a professional. So gained a few scores and stuff like that. Slow momentum because I was working as a software engineer at the time after graduation. Just wanted some money in the bank to withstand poker because people don't understand poker. Every day you show up, you have to put your money on the line or an investor's money on the line. But if you're like just starting out, you're not going to have investors in poker because like you're not established. So compared to any other job, it's very unique that you have to have a little money to even start.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's definitely good perspective because the dream of going pro, you better have a lot saved up in your bank account because the money's not necessarily stable. Well, you mentioned to me that you got some pizza spots in Alaska. We got to send Dave Portnoy to.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to get in Nate in your ear for a little bit now. Yeah, we have Moose's Tooth and we have Hearth and a few others. Moose's Tooth actually, I think it's like the biggest private pizza spot in the US by like sales. That place always has like an hour and a half wait every day.
Wow.
So I usually don't even go in. I just order ahead like an hour, 2 hours before, pick it up. But that place is slammed. And it's also got like some great beer, like this raspberry wheat that's really unique to Alaska. And Hearth's more an artisanal like pizza spot. So, we'll get him up. There's a direct flight from Vegas. So if he, goes on a bender during one of those Michigan games or something, then come up to Alaska for the hangover cure. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to get into this main. Before I got a couple main questions before I let you go. All right. So, just getting through day 8, like how did you manage that grind? Because after I guess day 2, it's literally every single day. Did that wear on you day 6 or day 7? How'd you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember day 7? I felt really good. Day 6 was really sort of tough. I was feeling the tiredness. But 7, some sort of, I even had like a really bad rest day, but I just felt excited, focused all day. Day 8 was tough because, I got moved tables really early at the very start of the day. So I had to change a little bit of my strategy, different players, learn a little bit about them really quick. Luckily I had the most chips at the table, so I could sort of push a little advantage there. Sometimes when people, you get later in tournaments as you're supposed to, if you're a short middling stack, you're trying to survive and get those pay jumps and more money. Whereas the big stack's putting a lot of pressure on you. Your reaction, you're like, I don't want to bust this tournament. Every decision's more stressful in a way compared to like a chip leaders. But I felt decent until I started losing like with ace king and like all these hands, all these all ins. You know, you got to win your all ins in poker tournaments, unfortunately, to win usually. But I picked up a nice pot when I won ace king to Lataro's king jack, who's a great player in PLO and the limit. So that helped gain a little momentum. I also made this nice king jack bluff versus pocket nines, where I did sort of a tricky play versus the guy because I, picked up something on him.
Nice. Well, okay. Going back on this main run, were there any big suck outs or big all ins that kept you going alive?
Yeah, there's two really memorable hands. One was, I think, before the money, I want to say, where one guy raised to about 5,500 chips. So it's pretty early in like late day two. And this recreational threw out a bigger chip and a 500 chip and made it 25,500, which, it's not standard, meaning like usually don't use this huge, big re-raise size. And the guy to my right asked him like, hey, did you mean to do that? Because sometimes, you're tired, you throw out the wrong chips. You might, what we call a misclick, where you put in too many chips than you meant to. And you could tell he was just like, no, I meant to raise, like very seriously. And I caught on like this guy was a little worried he accidentally threw out too many chips. So I ended up re-raising with jacks, and he called jack 10 off and bricked out. Yeah, he was like, got pretty committed. He put in a lot of his stack. So that was a big pot. Usually in those spots, we have like my chat group of friends that we've been playing poker for a while. We always talk about like these ridiculous situations I get in that aren't really my fault or anything, but like something bad always happens in those situations. So that hand happened. It went really well for me. And then my best friend Gotti, who's on the rail I've known since Egypt, he like gets misdealt under the gun, and the very next hand with his like short stack gets aces and triples up. And like the same like 2 minute span. So at that point, I felt like some like magic or poker gods were on my side. And then progressing like after the money bubble, I got on pocket jacks versus ace king. The guy turned an ace or a king, and then the river was the 2-outer jack, which kept me in the tournament. Yeah. So that felt good. I remember on like the turn, I was like, oh man, oh well, this is like a good run. And then the river came, and I was like, sort of like, oh, this is what it feels like in the main to hit that card. You see it sometimes, those reactions. I was visibly shaken, probably. Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. Well, hey, the thing is, though, you hit a card like that, you got to make it count. And you've done it making this final table. Now, looking ahead to the final table tonight, a lot of great storylines. Pretty, when you look at a tournament with 9,700 people, a lot of times maybe you get a lot of random names. That's not necessarily the case here. Obviously, this thing headlined by Michael Mizrahi, who won his fourth 50K Players Championship this summer. He came back from 3 big blinds to have 91 million going into the day. Then you got Leo Margetz. I always forget how to say her last name, but you got first woman in the modern era to make the main event final table, and she's good. Kenny's a super good player, his second main event final table. I mean, this thing's no joke today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of thinking it as like it's mine to lose, even though my stack's not there. I get sort of almost I feel like one chance in my life to make this final table, even if I do make it in the future. It feels like sort of a, I don't know, maybe like a Super Bowl run with an underdog. Like the odds are really stacked against you. You got like this, perfect chance to win. So like, why not win now? I'm not worried about like 9th, 8th, 7th, even with all these headliners. I know Mizrahi's going to play his style a little loose, but I'll mix it up with him. I'm not scared to go down without a fight.
Yeah, well, the thing about it, though, is even when you have 48 million, but like none of the big stacks have like that many chips. Nobody has 100 big blinds. I mean, it's not like, I don't know. It kind of felt like like everybody's got a shot in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, usually the main event's much deeper stacked. We were like 17 left for, I want to say, 3 hours or so with a bunch of people doubling through each other. So the stacks have shallowed out a lot, even with these really long structure 2-hour levels compared to like the average poker tournaments, 30 to 40 minute levels. So it's surprising in the main. I'm sure like we might have quite a few bust outs pretty early, and then it will slow down a bit. But you never know with the players at the table. They might try and end it today almost.
Yeah, did you get to go back and watch, like how did you spend your day off?
Yeah, started the day, a little study session with my like OG poker friends, like Brock Wilson, Steven Song, Gotti Kari, my best friend. He was in here like just marinating he's not a poker professional. He was just enjoying the strategy talk. And then my buddy from poker coaching, Justin Saliba, was in there. We were running some hands, talking about it. I was more, instead of the theoretical stuff, I wanted to talk sort of like what we think like people are going to play, like who's going to do what, sort of look through some coverage and stuff like that. So did that a few times, took some dinner, came back, did it for a few more hours, then just watched the end of the main event where we made the final table to get the emotions right.
Nice. Yeah, I figured you'd go back and watch that tape. Like now that you have so much experience playing with all these guys and being able to go back and watch all the film and stuff, I figured you'd take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say good luck today. You can follow Adam at Adam Hendrix 10 on Twitter. Starting back, he said at 2 Pacific. The Poker Go coverage starts at 3 Pacific, so 5 Central because it's an hour delay. But, man, I'm going to be pulling hard for you, and I just really appreciate you giving us some time. I know you're busy. That's very, very nice of you.
Appreciate you. Thanks for all the questions.
Heck yeah, Adam Hendrix. Good luck in the World Series, man. Can't wait to – you versus Grinder, heads up, you win. I'm calling it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Thanks again to Adam, and appreciate y'all watching Wake Up Mintzy.